Hi, Ingrid.
Hi, Monica.
I'm so happy to invite you into the Mother Wound group to have a little session about the mother archetype. And just for everybody who doesn't know Ingrid, and I feel like some of you, or maybe all of you, do know of Ingrid anyway, she's a psychic medium and she has started the Baba Spiritual Mission. And you do a lot of channeling. I know that because I've come to you for a lot of channeling and receiving messages from spirit that help to guide us along. So I have found that all my sessions with you have been very fluid. Like, there's very few people that I trust to read for me because I need to know like where that stuff is coming from, and I with you I've always felt like there's always been a sincere connection with spirit, and a very fluid flow of that information has been very important for me. And so I thought it would just be interesting for the group to kind of hear from you or whoever you're channeling about the mother archetype. And I'm not really sure who's going to show up or what's going to come of this.
Me neither.
Yeah, we're just going to go with it.
No idea.
And that's always what I found fascinating with your work, Ingrid, is that I've sometimes come into our sessions thinking that I knew what I wanted to know about, but just allowing you the room to give whatever you had to give was a lot more beneficial to me than, trying to guide you. But having said that,
Yeah.
I'm very deeply interested in the mother archetype because it is such a huge foundational piece for us as human beings. When we come onto the planet, we get kind of anchored through our personality, and like as our ego and our personality develops, we get anchored into being, self, like being ourselves, being embodied. And a lot of things happen along the way that can throw us off track, like the way our mothers treat us, or our mother's securities or insecurities really affect how we develop as a human being. And I'm just interested in maybe what Spirit has to say about how we can better understand the mother archetype, because it's obviously not just our mother, it's also the great mother, and it's our, it's the way that we find safety and meaning and grounding in life.
Yeah. Yeah. I was really intrigued when you asked me to come on and talk about the mother archetype for the Wounded Mother group. It's like, ooh. You have to excuse me a little bit. I tend to leak when I channel.
Oh, that's okay. I love all your little quirks. Like, I remember when we first started, you started doodling, and now there's leaking, like.
I still doodle too. I have my notebook here. I'm ready for my doodling.
Yeah.
So.
And I might take notes as well. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm, writing something down. But
so mother, I'm just calling in mother now, if it's okay for us to get started. And the first one I see who shows up is my guide, Mons, who shows up in a masculine energy for me usually.
Yeah.
The reason for that most likely is because I lost my father when I was young. So I tend to relate well to the masculine archetype. And I have, as you know, I've got a little bit of masculine energy running.
I never noticed.
But when I ask for mother, I just write it on my page here, and I ask for mother, 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 and I can almost hear the echo of the word mother, and it's shifting to just a simple ma, and that sound, even that sound itself, when you say, what I'm getting is when you say it out loud, ma, it's a heart opener. And so I feel the energy in the heart, and then I feel the energy in the throat. And what I'm getting today, what I'm getting for the mother archetype today, the way that it expresses itself today is the challenge of the heart, and that we have in the heart and the throat. So the heart is our purpose, our destiny, what we're here for, what we're here to express as human beings. The throat is the expression of that. So the form we put that in, and whether we're living authentically, living in our truth and being our true selves. And when I tap into the ma, my left ear rings, which is the left side of the body, right? That's the feminine, the receiving side of the body. I feel my heart fill, and then I feel my throat clench off. So I feel like the challenge that comes up with the mother energy, the ma archetype in our world today, in this era, I think I would call it, just how the experience that we're having in this physical creation at this time. And it is not always like this, but this is the experience we're having, is the mother, no matter what, the essence of the mother fills us up. It fills our heart. It shows us, it supports the essence. But what happens is there's damage that's done along the way. And most of the time, our mothers, our physical mothers, do not intend to inflict that damage, but it is just boom, 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 coming down. But here's the thing is, it's actually, what I'm getting is it's working to our benefit. Everything's working in our favor, because unless we have that tension between the essence that we feel when we're a baby and when we're with our mom and we just fall in love with our mother, whom our essence is created, our purpose is created in our heart. And then the tension shows up, the restriction shows up in the expression of that, because the mother almost always, and I'm getting pretty much always, ends up coming around and squashing that essence, not because she means to. Most of the time. Sometimes, people have that experience, and that's one of the more challenging mother experiences. But oftentimes it's not conscious, or they don't mean to, or they almost can't help it. And the restriction of that's like the flow is cut off. So we have this buildup of purpose, of essence in our hearts, which is our mother, and it becomes extraordinarily painful even to the touch, because we can't express it, because it's been shut down by the very being that helped us become aware of that essence and fall in love with that essence in our infancy, when we were very small, before expectations were laid on us. And it's not, I get this sort of panicked feeling when I feel into how the mother shows up for us in this day and age, is we become more sentient, we become more physically grounded in our little bodies, and it feels like the mother starts to panic. And I feel like even if you and I and the other women in this group who are mothers, who are in the physical, look at there's a time there at about age 2, 3, when the mother starts to panic and starts to shut things down with the daughter. Or even with the son, shut things down with the child, shut down the essence, because it's so big. The mother has been conditioned to believe that the child cannot survive or function if they continue in that expansive way. They have to contain it. They have to box it in. It becomes a survival issue. That's what I'm getting about how the mother archetype is showing up. So the mother, just to kind of recalibrate, regroup here, the energy of the mother, the ma, is to open our heart. That's the purpose of the ma, the mother, is to open our heart. And because we have dysfunction, and we're living in a dimension, if you will, or in a time where we're experiencing a tremendous amount of dysfunction and discord in our physical experience, it is also the mother, the ma energy, who comes and squeezes that off, like pinking a hose. And it feels like it comes from a fear place. So I feel the power center, the masculine energy, actually. There's fear around the masculine energy, and the way that child is to survive and function in the world, they can't get that big. And so they begin to systematically shut it down. And because it's because Ma was the key to opening us up, we can't help but acquiesce and say, okay, I'll shut it down. Okay, I'll shut it down. Oh my God. Okay. Because Mother is God when we are children. Mother is God. And we never lose that completely. That always stays there. So that is why we struggle. So many struggle with the relationship with the mother, because we so want to get back to that warm, expansive place in our infancy where mother showed us with her love and her energy everything we can be, and helped us discover our purpose in this body, which is different for everybody. And the pain of that being shut down, even pre-memory. shut down to the point, don't, and the panic and the fear we feel around that. This is why we have so much fear show up when our throat starts to open and our heart starts to open again, and we begin to express our authenticity. This is why it's terrifying. Right there, that dynamic right there. That's what Spirit is sharing with me about the mother archetype.
I'm so resonating with that. And when you start talking about that ma, and even as I was saying it to myself in my head as you were, and just practicing the sound, it also reminds me of the Om sign, of the Om sound, the thing that created the whole universe, because we come from this amazing vortex of fluid creativity.
Yeah.
Where, we're emerging from that huge vortex, climbing into a more confined space in our mother's womb, where we're still floating, but now we're starting to pick up sensory input from her beingness, from the way her blood flows and the way she digests her food and the way she digests her emotions. We're already being influenced.
Yes.
And then we come out and we quickly realize that mother may not be this warm, sacred womb that we may have completely or almost completely experienced when before we were born. And she may start asking us to be something that we can't be, because she needs us to reflect safety to her, because she doesn't feel safe and because she's unmothered.
Mm-hmm.
So then it starts all going downhill.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to teach is how we can get back to that Ma feeling and that Om feeling by tapping into the Great Mother.
Yes.
Going back to the cycles of nature, finding our familiarity. Okay, I can't say that word, obviously.
Familiarity. Coming through really strongly, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but channeling.
No, go ahead.
Is, our Ma gives us our purpose and opens our hearts, and in the womb, and really at birth is what I'm getting. When it's just the gaze, the love, when it's safe to love that much and to allow that much expansion in a little human being, and then cuts it off. But the thing that the full circle is, we as daughters, as we work to open up the throat, to go to express the essence and reopen that, that heals us once we get through that initial terror of actually stepping out into it. But that healing in turn heals our mother. Whether our mother is here or not, mother will begin to heal, and mother's heart will open, and mother will express her own authenticity, her own purpose here. It'll open up her Ma center, her heart center, and then on and on and on and on. So once one woman or man, it could be a man too, and the generation opens it up, the most important healing is the one done backwards.
Yes.
It's done, the lineage. And whether it continues forward is always, what I'm getting is the choice of the offspring. But once you heal it, it goes back and heals the lineage. And so the offspring has a much sweeter foundation off of which to launch and show up in all their glory. Because ultimately, no matter what happens with the mother and the Ma and the squeezing off, the cutting off of that flow, it is ultimately always up to us to step up and say, yes, this was my experience. Yes, it's been challenging. And I still choose to step into truth. That is the free will that we have. And no amount of awesome mothering or difficult mothering, is going to shift that. That's your decision and your decision alone. So that's why it doesn't automatically heal generations moving forward, because you have free will that comes into play. And we always choose whether we step into that or not. And in many cases, what I'm getting, a lot of the time, the more restriction you have in the mother relationship, the more likely and more powerfully you will step into your Ma essence.
That has definitely been my experience.
Yeah.
Like, I was so restricted that it was almost like it's like a lion roaring or a wolf howling. It was like this very, very primal cry for releasing myself, through whatever channel was open to me. You know, whatever way I could break out, I was going to break out.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, because sometimes people say to me, well, is the work really my own? Like, shouldn't she be doing some of the work? Isn't the work back there somewhere, all those people who messed up and created the mess that I'm in? And the answer is always no. The work is always, always our own.
Always. Yes. Yeah.
And
generations back, they did all the work they could do, that they were capable of doing.
exactly.
People who end up in your community, wow. Like, they're the ones that have just launched forward by galaxies to do incredible healing work for themselves and for the past generations. It's like, a feeling I get is almost like there's a chosen feel to it. It's funny because we were just talking about free will and it being your choice, but I do also get that feeling of, you know, this is part of that Ma experience for people who are ready, is to step into this and do this healing work for themselves, which in turn, you know, heals generations, but it ripples out. We can't see how far our own healing ripples out, but it is exponential, is what Spirit tells me. When we heal ourselves, it goes so much farther than we can possibly have any conception of. It goes all the way around the world. It's like almost everybody is affected by your own healing in some way.
Yeah. And also in terms of healing the generations past, because sometimes when we have lives, like when we have other lives, when we are recycled and we go back to another life, sometimes we go back to a life back 2 centuries ago. Like, past lives don't always happen. Like, we always imagine past lives are always going, okay, I've had this life, now I'm going to the next life, which is forward in time.
Yeah.
But sometimes we have lives, the next life of ours could be, you know, in 1700. It's hard to conceptualize because we think that, you know, time is flowing in this direction and that we can't go back in time to you know, to experience a life, but we can. But if we're doing the work for generations past, we are in effect healing ourselves during our next past life, maybe. Instead of, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the way that Spirit showed this to me was, it's not incarnation, it's not reincarnation, it's multi-carnation.
Multi-carnation, yeah.
Every single possible experience and every possible, you know, physical incarnation right here, right now. So there's you and me here in the 21st century doing this healing work, and there's me and you here in the 17th century here now doing something else. Maybe doing the opposite of what we're doing now. Maybe we are strongly perpetuating that pain, so that a future generation in the 21st century has the opportunity and the impetus to step up and do that healing work for 17th century us. We can go way out there with this stuff.
We might have to get our hip waders on and, you know, wade in really deep. But the main thing that I get from our talk today, Ingrid, is the main thing that impacted me anyway, is that Ma sound and that Ma, not just energy, but like that, you know, that archetype.
Yeah.
That is running through all of us.
Yeah.
Whether we are a man or a woman or whatever we are, however we identify, we all come in touch with that energy. There is no escaping it. We come in through that energy. We are born of that energy, and we are going to be in touch with that energy for the rest of our lives, or however many lives we have, because that is part of creation. That is, you know, the energy that we are born of. So it is really to our benefit and to everyone's benefit and to the benefit of consciousness to really tap into where we're at with that. It doesn't mean that we have to heal it to the nth degree in this lifetime. The work is the work, and you're just going to be doing it as you're doing it and getting to wherever you get to.
Yeah.
And
oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love that, what you just said about you don't have to heal it to the nth degree. And what I keep coming back to, what Spirit shares with me over and over again in my work with people who are doing various kinds of healing, a lot of times around mom stuff as well, is you're not really here to heal it to make it go away. your pain, your trauma, your experiences with your mother, when you can transform and transmute those experiences and integrate those experiences, they become part of your spiritual tool set. So you, Monica, are doing this work around the mother wound because you have a mother wound.
Mm.
And your mother wound doesn't go away. It simply starts working in your favor as opposed to dragging you down.
Exactly. Whereas before it was a wound that was really bleeding all the time. Now it's not a wound that bleeds. The wound is there, there's scarring there. I can tap into that. I can cry for 6 hours thinking about the things that happened. At the same time, it's incredibly empowering. It's given me, as you say, so many tools for navigating, and also those tools I can lend out. I don't have to keep those tools for myself. You know?
Yep.
I can lend those tools for other people to use and for other people to, putter around with so that they can help themselves.
Yeah.
Which is really, for me, an incredible gift that my mother gave me.
Right.
Giving me the strength to create those tools and then lend those tools out, which, she has been my best teacher. My mother has definitely been my best teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Ingrid, I just wanted to thank you for stepping in with us into this group and sharing your wisdom and sharing the wisdom of the wider consciousness.
Thank you, Monica.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we will speak again shortly.
Okay.
Namaste.